Good evening and welcome to BBC Radio Orkney's coverage of the 2024 Parish Cup Final between Ham and St Ola. We're here at the Kirkwall Grammar School, the third venue to host the final of this tournament. We've been at the Bignell before, and in the past 25 years we've been at Picky, but we're at the KGS with the Picky pitch currently out of action. I'm joined by Andrew Grundwater here at the KGS. Evening, Andrew.
Evening, Adam. Delighted to be here again for the final.
Well, delighted you've been able to join us. And what are you expecting from this match, Andrew?
Well, I think the first thing to say is I think most folk have probably commented on this, but probably the two strongest teams in the competition this year, and they've managed to make their way through. It's an interesting contrast, I think. Huge experience in the St Ola team and a lot of physicality there versus maybe a slightly younger lineup with Ham, who maybe have the edge in terms of youth and pace.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the other experience matter to comment on is experience in finals. Of course, Ham were winners in 21 and 22, so a lot of their boys have been here and done it on the Parish Cup final stage. St Ola, on the other hand, haven't been in a final since 2014, 10 years since they were last in a final, so not many of their boys have been in at this stage. So do you think that'll play a factor?
Yeah, that's right. It's quite remarkable, really, that St Ola haven't made a final in 10 years when you look at some of the squads they've had over those years. I mean, in terms of experience, you look at some of the names in the St Ola team, I think whether they've played a lot of parish football or not, they've been there and done it across different levels of Orkney football, so I don't think they'll be fazed by playing a final at all.
No, absolutely not. Well, let's have a run through those two teams for you. We'll start with Ham, and we're thinking they're lining up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Jamie Sutherland, young goalkeeper, will start at number 1. Louis Hancock and Xander Scott, two young fullbacks at right and left back. Mark Rendell and Graham Horn are the centre halves. Ahead of them, we're thinking will be Magnus Flett and Ewan Stevenson in the middle of midfield. The middle three, or the attacking three or so, we're a bit unsure about at the moment. Thorfinn Scott wide right, possibly Ryan Mooney wide left, and Jason Scott in the number 10 position, but all three a bit interchangeable there, and Scott Rendell up front. Plenty of talent in that lineup, Andrew.
Yeah, very much. I mean, there's a number of names there who have performed really well for East United this year in the A-League, who are just on the cusp of clinching the league, so there looks like there's goals in that team.
Absolutely. And St Ola, they go with a 4-4-2 formation. A bit of a blast for the past, Andrew. And Robert Adamson starts in goals, another young goalkeeper. Gregor Dowell and Reid Kemp are the fullbacks. Darren McLean and John Tate are at centre half. Wayne Monkman and Kyle Dravers are tasked with playing centre midfield. Harvey Rendell will be wide left and Jamie Tullock wide right. And Stephen McPhail and Graham Shearer from Hotspurs. Graham Shearer Jr., I suppose you might call him, although he's not very junior anymore. But as you touched on earlier, Andrew, very strong throughout that lineup as well.
Yeah, very much, and interesting that they seem to be opting to go with a 4-4-2. See teams playing that less and less, and how that matches up with a five-man midfield will be interesting to see if the wider players don't tuck in and help when St Ola don't have the ball. The middle two will have a lot of work on their hands. I
think that could be a really fascinating battle, and it'll be interesting to see if St Ola are forced to maybe drop Graham Shearer into maybe a number 10 position type thing to combat that imbalance in midfield. But Duncan backing his players to handle a 4-4-2 formation. Duncan Gray, of course, the St Ola manager. Richie Brunton on the Ham side, so lots of experience there. I spoke to both those managers in the build-up to up here at the KGS, starting with Richie Brunton. Richie Brunton, your Ham manager, another Parish Cup final, 3 out of the last 4. How's the feeling amongst yourself and amongst the squad getting into this game?
Surprisingly calm. I think because we've been at the last couple of sort of finals in the last 3 years, the boys have prepared well. The majority of the squad have had the experience of those last 2 finals as well. So we're excited. We're disappointed last year.
Right, Adam, just mind on to mention the Facebook page and that coverage is live on that.
The players will be well aware this is a strong squad you've got, and you need to be get into semi-finals, finals of this competition while these players are young and fit and hungry?
Absolutely.
Sorry, Adam, if you replied to that, I didn't get it. I forgot to put doing PFL. Yeah, just mind on to mention that pictures on the Facebook page.
Enjoyable occasions are big occasions, and you want to be in them rather than not be in them. So we're always putting that message across to the boys to keep hungry for this.
What are you expecting from your opponents, St Ola?
Well, St Ola, we've played them the last few years. We're well accustomed to the physicality that they bring in games, but they've also got threats all over the pitch with some young lads themselves and a bit of pace. So, we're under no illusions that this is the biggest challenge that this year presents in the competition. It's been a while since they've been in it, so they're hungry themselves. So, yeah, we're prepared for all eventualities because we know them well, and we'll just see how this unfolds.
Talk us through your team selection. A lot of familiar players, a lot of tough decisions for you, I'm sure.
A lot of tough decisions. The majority of the guys who are starting the game, they play together for their club. They're well versed in what they do week in, week out. But we've also got that experience. We can't ignore that. That's key when you've got those characters in the team that can talk these younger guys through the game as well. But we've done that over the last few years. The youth, the energy that brings, almost that sort of fearless sort of performances that these young lads bring, and then the calming heads of the older guys as well. It's a good blend, it's a good mix, and hopefully it stands us in good stead today.
Yeah, how vital are players like Graham Horn and Magnus Flett, two very experienced campaigners and been there and done it for Ham? How important are they going to be?
Hugely important. I think, they play the game the right way, they look after themselves. That's why they're still knocking on the door for places in this team, these guys. All the older guys are still very much integral parts of this, and we need that influence with the young lads that look up to them as well and listen to these older heads.
All the best, Richard.
Thank you.
Duncan Gray, St Ola manager, first final for St Ola in 10 years. How are you feeling?
I was pretty calm, but I'm apprehensive now since I worked in the changing rooms, and there's a bit of nerves. I think all the boys have got that little bit of something as well, so it's good to have that little bit of nervousness.
Because a lot of your players won't have experienced a Parish Cup final before.
Very little, and we have a lot of experience within the team, so I'm hoping that's enough. We've got A-League winners and stuff, but the Parish Cup is a different beast. Absolutely correct.
You're touching there, your players are largely coming out of the A-League, mainly Rovers, Thorpe and Hotspurs. A lot of their boys are playing together for East United. Do you think that'll make a difference?
I think cohesion is a massive thing, and that's why probably Ham are probably the favourites for it, I would say. But going by me squad, I'm not overly. I'm not going to be cocky with this, but I think we have a very good chance of it. I think Ham are a very good side, and we are a very, very good side. So that's an extra very there.
Would you agree it's the two strongest teams left in the competition?
I would say so. I think this is the final probably most folk would like to see. I think, yeah. I hope instead of it just being a back and forth battle, I hope there's some good football within that to see as well. That'd be good.
And did you have a few headaches over the past few days deciding on your final lineup?
Yeah, my wife is not just overly impressed with the paperwork on the table. I've had a lot of formation changes, a lot of people, and PD Aidan Fubester had to pull out with his knee, what happened up at the Bignell, so that was probably a good thing but not a bad thing, if you can what I mean. I didn't have to find a place for somebody and drop somebody, and Che Fubister's struggling at the minute a pretty bit, but I'm hoping he'll give us something in the second half rather than because he's not fit for a full 90, so that's the other guy.
I mean, good headaches to have when you're trying to find spots for the two Fubister brothers, of course.
Well, yeah, considering I had 14 and 15 wanting to play in every leg up to it, and then 28 when I go with the final. But it's just what it is. Everybody wants to play in a final. I wanted to play in it, but I had to tap my name out. So.
And you're going 4-4-2. Talk us through that decision.
So 4-4-2 is I've got McPhail and Graham Shearer, and to be fair, it's very hard to drop one of them. McPhail's my captain, and probably Sheary's one of the most gifted footballers I've played with. So to tell him he can't play is, I don't think many managers would drop Graham Shearer. So my idea was to go 4-4-2, and because I know Ham play very expansive, nice football, so try and stop them up the park playing along the back, and hopefully play into our hands with our big centre halves and centre midfield.
And you, of course, were the last man to score a winner for St Ola in a Parish Cup final. Somebody told me that. Who good would it be to see somebody take that record off you?
I don't know who told you that, Adam. It was Mr. Gray or somebody like that. Yeah, no, I would absolutely love it. I love McPhail to be able to lift this cup. Obviously, we had a bit of fun last year with Kyle Robe and stuff like that. So it would be rather nice to go away with it, and that's pretty good, I think. Yeah, hopefully.
Duncan Gray finishing off that report there. Interesting to hear the thoughts of Duncan Gray and Richie Brunton, of course, in the build-up, Andrew. And both sides, of course, have reason to be confident.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Richie has the benefit of having been here and done it before, and I think that sort of confidence came through in what he was saying there. Obviously, one or two injury issues that Duncan's been having to deal with, but he came across as very positive, and I think just at the end there as well you got a sense that there's maybe a bit of extra feeling behind it this year after what happened last year for St Ola.
Yeah, well, undoubtedly that will go down as a missed opportunity for St Ola, to play an ineligible player and miss out on a chance, because you only get so many chances in the Parish Cup, of course. So that remains in the past, though, and we look forward to the 2024 Parish Cup Final. As you can see, the two teams are doing the pre-match handshakes. We're just about 3 or 4 minutes away for kick-off. Well, the usual photos being taken and handshakes being made. The officiating team in the centre circle there, of course, Scott Hamilton takes charge of his first Parish Cup final as referee. He'll be ably assisted by Raymond Rendell and Charlie Allway on the line, and I believe Gary Fubister is on fourth official duty. So I hope Scott has a good game. I hope it's nothing too controversial for him, but undoubtedly two teams that will attempt to keep him right. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, big honour for Scott, and it's good to see him getting that chance. He's developed this experience a lot over the last few years in terms of refereeing, but he will have work to do today, I suspect.
Absolutely, yes. So we're just going through the final few preparations here, coin flip and whatnot. Ewan Stevenson pointing towards the goal, towards the Pabdale end at the moment. We'll see what both teams changing ends. So Ham have, I believe, chosen to go. The wind's really blowing pretty much across the pitch. I'm on, I suppose, slightly towards what I would call the Pabdale end of the pitch, right enough. So Ham will go from the Kirkwall end of the pitch towards Pabdale in the first half. St Ola kicking towards the Toon in this first half. We're just waiting for the two goalkeepers to make their way up to the other end of the pitch, and we'll await kick-off eagerly. A decent crowd at the moment. A decent rather than huge crowd. Of course, there'll be a few latecomers, as there always are in Orkney, Andrew. Yeah,
it's filled in a wee bit over the last 5 minutes. Just looking at the teams lining up here, Adam, as well, it looks like Mooney for Ham's on the right and Jason Scott on the left, with Thorfinn in the middle. So be interesting to see if they stick with that or whether they interchange.
Well, absolutely. I suppose Thorfinn did start for the county there in the most recent county. So that is us underway in the 2024 Parish Cup Final. An early free kick gained by St Ola. Nothing controversial about that, and the teams are underway. Wayne Monkman lays it off to John Tate, two of the more experienced players in this St Ola team. John Tate wearing number 2 but playing centre half, looks for McPhail. His captain McPhail lays off to Harvey Rendell. Harvey Rendell can't get it past a red shirt. And here is Kyle Draver. He could have an important part to play. Lays off to John Tate. Monkman, Draver to Tate. Tate goes in the left-hand channel, but Louis Hancock intercepts into Magnus Flett. Mooney starting on this right-hand side for Ham. Off to Flett. Flett looking for Hancock over the top. A nice ball. Exactly where Ham want the ball at this stage of the match. Hancock goes for that byline, but as he tugged back by Kemp, looks like the free kick was given indeed. Hancock got the run side of the fullback Kemp there and hit the byline, Andrew.
Yeah, good ball through there, and I think you see where Ham's pace in that positions out wide could really test St Ola. It was probably a good foul in the end because I think he was pretty much through on the angle for goal there.
Graham Horn takes the kick, left footed, looks for the top corner, but it's on to the top of the net rather than the top corner, and First attempt on goal or attempt at goal for Ham, but not troubling Adamson in the St Ola goal. 2 young goalkeepers tonight, Andrew.
Yeah, big test, I suppose, for them too in terms of the showpiece occasion. They won't have been involved possibly in a lot like this, but again, Adamson, ironically, is a guy who plays his league football at East United, so he'll know a lot of his opponents well today, and having watched him a couple of times this season, he's not usually too short on confidence.
That is one thing you would not say about young Robert Adamson, that he lacks confidence. He lacks confidence. He is plenty to say for himself normally. He'll not afraid to give his opinions, and as you say, him and Harvey Rendell here on the left-hand side, both playing for East, so playing against 6 or 7 of their teammates in the opposing lineup. So a bit of a interesting aspect there. Thorfinn Scott gets his first touch of the ball, 1-2 Mooney. Thorfinn Scott now drifts beyond Kemp. Hancock again in an advanced position, drills it across. First corner of the game will be to Ham. John Tate gets his very capable head on that. So Hancock having a good start at this right back area, Andrew.
Yeah, I think you're seeing early on, because Ham have an extra man in the middle, at least one of the St Ola wide men are going in there to help cover, and it's enabling Ham to get an overload in the wide areas.
Food for thought for St Ola even at this early stage. So Graham Horn obviously tasked with taking a lot of set pieces. He's taken the corner here into the box. I think that's off a St Ola head for another corner. I'm never sure about centre halves taking free kicks and corners. Andrew, even with a left foot like Horn. Here it comes. No, not quite. I thought.
Yeah, it's an unusual one.
Because you're out of possession if it breaks, aren't you?
Yeah, it's an unusual one.
Here comes Horn. Towards the back post this time. It will be cleared by Harvey Rendell, not very effectively. Back to Mark Rendell. He'll look for his right back, but it won't get there. Intercepted by Kemp. A rough touch by Kemp. Now here is Horn on that right-hand side. Looks for Scott. Goal! Jason Scott opens the scoring in this Parish Cup Final. And what a start for Ham, Andrew.
Yeah, again, problems came down the right-hand side. St Ola's left-hand side there again. A mistake by Kemp at left back, and that enabled them to have so much time to play that ball in, and a wee bit of scuffed finish, but it was right in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, that all came from a Ham corner, but loose pass by the left back. He was out of position. Graham Horn just happened to be in the Ham right wing area, having taken that corner. So as much as we're saying that it was a risky strategy, it's paid off handsomely there, and Ham are ahead within 4 minutes. That will hopefully liven up this cup final, because an early goal often can, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean that's potentially huge for the game. Last year really suffered with the game going into stalemate, and it became 2 teams not wanting to lose a game. But that opens it up. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It'll be interesting to see what St Ola do, because it's not that the formation's failing already by any stretch of the imagination. It's very early doors, but it'll be interesting to see if they do try and sort out this extra man in midfield, or whether they'll let it run for a few minutes yet to see how the game progresses.
I'm pretty sure St Ola would have wanted to keep this game tight for the first 20 or 30 minutes. So opening the game up probably isn't in St Ola's interests, to be quite honest.
And cleared by Darren McLean. Big physical battle there on top. Scott Rendell and Darren McLean, and of course John Tate. None of them shrinking violets up front, Andrew.
No, definitely not. There'll be a few physical challenges up there. Same at the other end, to be fair, as well, where McPhail and Shearer are no shy in putting themselves about either. I
really like Graham Shearer as a player. He is such a handful for those centre halves to play against, because he wants the ball in defeat and shielding off the centre half, doesn't he?
Yeah, super player. It was a shame he had so many sort of fitness and injury problems the last, maybe since COVID or so, because before that, I think, there was an argument. He was up there with the best strikers in Orkney. He was a super player. Another
Ham corner here, the third of the match. So Louis Hancock looks like he's trotting forward, as does Mark Rendell from centre half. Ryan Mooney will take this one. He's trotted out to the far side in front of a decent bank of fans there on the far side of the pitch as we look at it. Mooney with the corner. Short to Hancock. Hancock tries to turn, looks for Rendell. Cleared. Xander Scott up against McPhail, a bit of a mismatch physically there, but Scott just shepherds it out and will look for a teammate, but can only find a green shirt. Here comes his brother Thorfinn. Thorfinn Scott into Boo Stevenson, Ewan Stevenson, but the slide rule ball doesn't pay off. Here is Shearer trying to turn. Off to Rendell. Up and under towards McPhail. The ball bounces, but Scott will get it clear. Can't clear it very far though. Will the first shot on goal for St Ola for Jamie Tulloch? Not this time. McPhail gathers in the box. Can he do something? Chip ball looking for Shearer. Nothing doing. Jamie Sutherland gets his gloves on the ball for, he's not too much to do so far. It's been mainly Ham so far, Andrew.
Yes, it has. They've had one or two good, well put together moves. Of course, they're playing with the wind here as well, so they'll be looking to make sure they've got a cushion at half time, I think.
Yeah, the wind, we're relatively sheltered here. We're a commentary truck, but we must bear in mind that it's a bit more breezy on the pitch there. Bright but breezy is the order of the day for the weather here at the 2024 Parish Cup Final. Ham, of course, won the very first one all the way back in 1929, Andrew, so 95 years later, we're looking at a Ham win, possibly. They're 1-0 up here against St Ola. Thank you very much for joining us on BBC Radio Orkney. We're also live on the Facebook page for those of you watching online, and we're also on BBC Sounds. Here's Kyle Draver. Looks for Dowell, but a loose pass. Gregor Dowell can't gather.
I was worried you were going to ask me if I remembered that final there, Adam.
I wouldn't be so cruel as that, Andrew, but you remember one or two more than I do, right enough. And I tell you, one player on the pitch who will remind us fair share of Parish Cup finals is Wayne Monkman. I was texting him earlier on. He tells me he's got 6 Parish Cup winners' medal, and at the ripe old age of just nearly 49, he's got all the experience in the world, Andrew. That's
for sure. And still a very, very fit guy. Obviously doesn't play regular league football anymore, but
here's a Ham free kick. Horns over the bar. Yes, Monkman still, he gave up league football, I believe, that year that Hotspurs won the title. I think I'm right in saying he didn't play. He's not played league football since, but he's kept himself fit through a variety of things, running, golf, and still playing for St Ola. And he, by no means, certainly in this year's competition, has not looked out of place. He's been very important. Actually scored a couple of goals on the way to the final.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, he's kept himself in great shape, and he's got huge quality. Everyone knows what a good player Wayne was and is. The question mark, I suppose, is with this, especially with this formation in there, the amount of legwork he's having to do against guys, literally half his age, is a big ask.
Absolutely, as you say, him and Kyle have their work cut out tonight. Kyle Draver, his centre midfield partner, and up against young whippersnappers and Ewan Stevenson and Thorfinn Scott, both county standard as well. So one to keep an eye on. Here's McPhail, or looking for McPhail, cut out by Rendell. That's a free kick, I believe. Ham free kick. Yes, just a touch back on Monkman. He tells me he has scored in the Parish Cup final before. He scored in the last minute in 2004 to take the match to extra time. That was against, let me just check this now, that was against Ham indeed. I think that was 20 years ago, the Ham and St Ola.
Okay.
They've done their fair share of finals. Here's Ryan Mooney come down the right hand side. Can Scott Rendell keep it in? He does. Looks for Mooney. Mooney back to Hancock. Hancock gives it to Rendell. Is he offside? He is.
Yeah.
Flag goes. Yes, just a touch on this is this is a repeat of the 2011 final, which St Ola won 2-0. They also played in 2003 and 2004. So these two teams well used to seeing each other in finals. Maybe not necessarily these particular group of players, and obviously neighbours sharing a border. And other than Ham and St Ola, Andrew, can you tell me the last time two neighbours met in a Parish Cup final?
Two neighbours.
Was it
Stromness and Sandwick?
I think that would have been too long ago. The one I'm looking at was 1992 when Firth beat St Ola 2-1. I think Stromness St Andwick would have been
98.
You're absolutely right. I stand corrected in my orthopaedic shoes. I'm just trying to engineer Firth winning a Parish Cup into the conversation, and you've done me with some actual facts.
Well, I cheated. I actually played in that game, so that's why it came to mind.
Absolutely. So this is the 2024 version of the final. It's 1-0 Ham at this moment in time, and we are 12 minutes into the action. So just coming up to 12th minute, and we're deep in Ham territory here with a throw-in on the far side. Taken by Gregor Dowell, of course, another Orkney representative a couple of weeks ago against Shetland. Had a very good game. Can't stay on his feet for that one. Cleared by Jason Scott, the goal scorer. Darren McLean robs Scott Rendell of the ball. McLean is a turn back. Give it to Monkman. Monkman hounded down by Stevenson. Stevenson done well to come back from a nasty injury earlier in the season. I think it was possibly even on the 3G. He got injured. He's not played a vast amount of football this year. None for Orkney. Here's Monkman. Charlie Alway flagging on the side there. Saw the push. So the free kick goes Ham's way. What do you make of this as a venue, Andrew, the KGS here?
I must admit, prior to this year, I haven't been the biggest of fans of the surface here. But looking at it tonight, it's come on a lot this season because there hasn't been football getting played in it. I think there was so much football being played on it that it generally was quite cut up. And I mean, in terms of viewing, you've got the bank at the far side, and you know, there's still plenty of spectators, plenty of room around the pitch as well for spectators.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what folk make of it from a spectating point of view. I'll be certainly keen to hear folks' views in the days and weeks to come as to how it compares to Picky and how folk like it. And Picky obviously has the natural banks at the two sides and plenty of room, but there certainly seems to be a healthy crowd here. But on a decent night, McPhail just nudges Hancock out of the road. I think that was certainly a foul there. There's no attempt to play the ball, and he used his considerable bulk to shift Hancock off the ball. So a free kick that'll be taken by Rendell. Yes, this pitch looks in really decent order. It's been Athletics exclusive use this summer because of that work going on at Picky's. So certainly not been overused in a football sense this year. The 1 hour by the Meadowbank pitch has obviously been well used as a result of that. Hotspurs and Ackies and Hotspurs reserve team all playing on it, so that gets a fair bit of use. But this pitch here set to be the main pitch for the Island Games, or the showpiece pitch for the Island Games next summer. So good to see it in good nick, Andrew.
Yeah. Hopefully that stays the case. And I mean, I think out of the options, given the Picky situation, it was the best option. Nice turn there from Stevenson.
Absolutely. I think there was a real, what's the word, wanting to see, there's a groundswell of opinion that would love to have seen it at the Bignell. There's a bit of nostalgia, but it was never really a feasible option, I don't think, with what goes on in the Bignell Park after the show.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it happened up until, was it 99 was the first parish final, but if you played it, was that the last Bignell final, was 1998, that one you were involved in against Sandwick, but health and safety's moved on in the 25 years since, and we're here at the KGS in front of a good few hundred fans. I'm never good at estimating crowds, and they're still streaming in here, and we remain at 1-0 Ham, an early goal through Jason Scott after a loose pass by Reid Kemp. We're in the opposite end now though. Ham's box cleared by Ewan Stevenson, only as far as Jamie Tulloch. Jamie Tulloch not really been involved yet. John Tate out to Reid Kemp. Reed Kemp goes by Mooney. Can he get the ball in the box? No, he looks for Harvey Rendell, but maybe the better option was the cross there, and the foul as a result of the pass. Hancock on the receiving end of the foul again. Hancock into Ewan Stevenson. Ewan Stevenson over the halfway line. Looks for Rendell, but too much on that pass. A lot of talent on both benches as well, Andrew, for both teams to try and influence the game later on.
Yeah, it must have been some difficult selection decisions for both managers there. The one that stood out for me on the bench that I was a wee bit surprised not to see starting was Stephen Edwards for Ham. Again, obviously an over 40s player, but still a fit guy, and he brings a lot of organisation to teams as well as quality.
He does that. He, I suppose you might say you might be looking at him coming on and steadying the ship later on if it is close, or if St Ola are coming back into it.
Potentially.
There's a free kick. Ewan Stevenson knocks the ball by John Tate, and a pretty straightforward foul, and it looks like it's going to be a booking. I thought he might have gotten away with that one there. It was a very clear foul, but Scott Hamilton's seen enough in it for a yellow card to John Tate at centre half for St Ola, so he gets booked in the 16th, 17th minute, so a long 75 minutes ahead for Mr Tate. When you're on a booking as a centre half, Andrew.
I think John knew there that if he wasn't getting the ball, he had to get the man, because there was a bit of space again in this sort of right channel, which seems to be where Ham's getting the most success.
Indeed, maybe a good booking to take. Goes into the box. Can St Ola clear? An acrobatic foot for somebody in the red shirt there. Cleared as far as McPhail. McPhail will look for his left winger, Harvey Rendell. Here's Kyle Draver. Looks for Jamie Tulloch. Now St Ola can break. Jamie Tulloch up against Xander Scott. Two speedy players. Looks for McPhail. Gets a shot away, but charged down by Mark Rendell. And it'll go for a St Ola throw. It does not. Brian Mooney does well to play it off Kemp to give Ham the throw. Hancock into the very experienced Magnus Flett. Nice turn by Thorfinn Scott. Looks for his brother Jason. He turns as well. Can he get a shot away? It's just drifted a bit wide. Looks for Xander Scott, but cleared by Tate. Thorfinn Scott steps over the ball. Give himself a bit of room. He'll give the ball to his left back, his brother, Xander. Xander into Jason. Jason Scott is in on goal. That seemed to come out of nothing there, Andrew. He just seemed to dance through the defence.
It was quite remarkable there. He seemed to turn one defender, and then the rest of the defence seemed to part and almost invite him through. And
it's like Moses opening the Red Sea, Andrew.
He really should have hit the target there.
He absolutely should have hit the target there. He'll look back on that one tomorrow with a bit of regret, because he had a shot on goal. He had very little hassle from a St Ola point of view, from a defensive point of view. Over the bar it went, and a golden opportunity passed up for Ham to double their lead.
I think he was almost surprised he wasn't under more pressure there, because he could have taken another 2 or 3 steps and been right in on the goalkeeper as well.
He was as surprised as me and you, I think. Scott Rendell now. Rendell turns. Kemp at left back. Hancock picks it up. Kemp blocks the shot, and it goes out for a Ham throw right by the corner flag. Hancock trots over to tack it. Hancock looks for Mooney. Mooney off Tate for another Ham corner. And I never like singling out players, Andrew, but Reed Kemp at left back's maybe just not had the start he would have been looking for.
He's struggling a wee bit, and I think there's two things. Partly the overall shape of the team, but also he's not getting a huge amount of help for Rendell in front of him defensively, and I think the combination of that two is something that Duncan's potentially going to have to look at.
Here comes Horn with the corner. Near post this time. Only as far as St Ola head. That's Gregor Dowell clearing. McPhail. Nice move by St Ola, but just the pass is a bit short, looking for Harvey Rendell. Hancock gives it to Ewan Stevenson. Rendell back to Stevenson. Out to Hancock. Hancock having a good start to this game. Flett turns. Oh, a poor pass though, only as far as Kyle Draver. Kyle gives it to Harvey Rendell. Harvey Rendell he's hounded by 3 or 4 Ham Sharks. It shows you the numbers they've got. Oh, and that's booking as well, I would have thought. Monkman comes through. Thorfinn Rendell just danced away from him. I think referee Hamilton's going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Amazed that's not a booking. That was a much worse tackle than Jones. One that he got a booking for was...
he seemed to go in quite high on his leg.
There was intent there, to be quite honest, so I'm surprised that's not a booking.
Maybe Monkman just raced away before he could get his name taken. Hancock, nice ball into the back post, but can't find a red shirt. Yes, I think that was showing every inch of Thorfinn Scott's youth and exuberance there. Just danced away from Monkman, and Monkman with a bit of experience taking the foul and letting him ken he's in the game. 1-0 Ham here, just approaching the 22nd minute. We've played the first quarter of this Parish Cup final here at the Kirkwall Grammar School. Monkman takes the ball off his goalkeeper. He'll be looking to have a more positive impact on the match. Looks for Shearer up front, but can't reach him. Shearer gathers though.
I struggle to understand why Wayne's going that deep to take the ball off the goalkeeper in a 4-4-2 formation, because he's effectively leaving one guy in the middle.
Here comes Adamson out of his box. Adamson has to tidy things up there. Yes, absolutely. I mean, is it frustration as early as this, Andrew? Like trying to make something happen?
There may well be a bit of that, but you've got John and Darren there, who are two very experienced centre halves.
Ham are making a nuisance of themselves in the box here. St Ola can't clear their lines. Here's Dowell. Dowell up towards Jamie Tulloch. Jamie Tulloch on this right hand side. Up against Thorfinn Scott at this moment in time. Drifts inside. That's a cynical foul by Mr. Jason Scott, and Jamie Tulloch making the point that if that's a foul, if that's not a yellow card, then what way was John Tate's? And I can see an element of that. There was no much attempt at the ball from Jason Scott there, but he gets away with just a foul as well. Duncan Gray here on the sidelines making that point as well.
Similar to Wayne's though.
Yes, absolutely. So it's just a pretty bit niggly in the past few minutes. Jamie Tulloch takes the free kick. Nice looking ball. It's against the wind, of course, in this first half. Here comes Kemp. Shouts for handball. It's given. So St Ola centre halves, McLean and Tate can stay where they're at. Jamie Tulloch will take again. Just about 35 yards out or so.
Tough ask to get this on target with the required power against the wind.
He does have a go straight into the wall. Jamie Tulloch. Back to Harvey Rendell. Makes a hash of that one, I doubt, and it'll be a Jamie Sutherland by kick. Do you think the wind is having an effect on this match so far, Andrew?
I mean, I'm obviously no party to the tactics that St Ola would have discussed, but looking at the setup of their team, I would have thought they would want to play a wee bit more direct than what Ham do, and I think potentially playing with the wind might give them a better opportunity to do that.
Thorfinn Scott moving forward, has a go, 2 or 3 yards over the bar. Robbie Adamson dives just to make sure, but was never on target. Thank you for joining us on BBC Radio Orkney's Facebook coverage. We're on 93.7 FM as well for those listening on the wireless, and we're on BBC Sounds for those of you who are of a high-tech persuasion. It's the 2024 Parish Cup. Ham are 1-0 up here at the KGS. We've got about 20 minutes to go in this first half. Ham certainly had the better of this game so far, but St Ola trying their best to come into it a bit more. Dowell up and under, looking for his striker. Cleared. McLean to Tulloch. Tulloch down the line towards McLean. He's breaking forward from centre half. An enthusiastic support here from maybe some of them strike for the beer tent. I don't ken. Did you did you back to the show yourself, Andrew?
No, I never went. Obviously full focus and concentration on my duties tonight.
Yes, of course you were.
A wash of prep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was trying to do some notes while I was on the Sizzler and in the fun fair this afternoon, but I could hardly concentrate. Charlie Allway, the linesman on the far side, spots infringement, so he flags for the. I think somebody left his studs in from a St Ola point of view, and St Ham will take the. No, it's just a throw. Scott goes long up the line. Looks for Scotty Rendell. Dowell up over his head, but it's in amongst the fans there on this far side. Plenty of yellow cans going about, Andrew, so a lot of folk coming out to enjoy the occasion. The end of the summer, the Parish Cup Final.
Yeah, that's right. The nights are drawing in now. The crowd's really filled out. Actually, it's always difficult to estimate, isn't it? Because folk are a lot more scattered at Picky. But I was actually a wee bit worried with the combination of kind of the online coverage and the change of location that that we might see less than this. So I think it's quite heartening to see the crowd that we've got.
Certainly is that. Just trying to spot where the ball's getting here. There it comes. Xander Scott emerges for the crowd. Gives it to Ewan Stevenson. Ewan Stevenson, big diagonal ball looking for Scott Rendell. He lays it down to Mooney. Robert Adamson, all in blue in the St Ola goal.
Again, Monkman going very short for that ball. I'm not convinced that's a good tactic for St Ola, to be honest with you.
It leaves it very short in the middle then. Here's a Sheary. Shouldn't call him Sheary. Graham Shearer. I suppose it's two physical centre halves against two physical centre forwards here for St Ola. So it'll be St Ola with the centre forwards, I should say, and Ham with the centre halves. It'll be interesting to see who that battle develops, and especially with St Ola getting the wind in the second half, because McPhail is certainly a handful, but Graham Horn won't be given any, no quarter given either from him.
No, and he's got huge experience and will know how to play. He'll be well used to playing against bigger, stronger guys and how to manage that situation. I actually think, looking at Stephen McPhail in his build now, he's almost too big for football. Do you know? Because you lose a bit of kind of pace off the mark and maybe just dexterity in how you play. So, but if they can play it right, off him potentially with long balls. You're absolutely right. He can be a huge handful.
Wayne Monkman just getting a bit of treatment here in the middle of the park. The rest of the players taking a moment to get a few words with our coaching teams, get a bit of water on board. Wayne Monkman, I'm sure he'll be up. He'll carry on. If you look up Warhorse in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of Wayne Monkman staring back at you, Andrew. So he'll carry on until he has absolutely no option not to.
He'll be desperate to carry on, yeah.
He's going off to, he has to go off to come back on, and the two teams are just regrouping now. Duncan Gray was physio kit. He's a very talented coach. His magic sponge came out of the bag there, and it should hopefully see Monkman carry on for a good few minutes yet.
Yeah, I thought he'll need to learn as manager that there are some tasks he can delegate. I think in the whole of St Ola there's probably someone else who can run on with a magic sponge.
So we're underway again. Jason Scott, the goal scorer, just gets a few yards. We're moving down towards the St Ola goal. Xander Scott will take the throw in here. Another occasion to see three brothers playing in this final, a fourth on the bench, so another bit of history made. Cleared from his own box by Monkman. Thorfinn Scott had a very good game so far, and yes, we touched on that we weren't sure if he was playing centre midfield or right midfield, Andrew, but hold on, I'll come back to it. Here's Jason Scott hit the byline, out for a corner to Ham.
Decent chance again.
Yeah, absolutely. Mooney will tack it, I think, or is Horn going to go across for that one as well, I think. Yeah, you can see why Richie Brunton's chosen to play Thorfinn Scott in the middle there, because he's had a really good game.
He's been very impressive, and he's been very impressive all season, actually. He's probably the brother I knew the least amount about before this
Ham
season.
Corner,
but he's been very, very good.
Runs out for a second. Yes, he's been very good, and you can see that you can see how much he's developed when he's playing. You know, he had such an important part to play in the junior inter-county, and then had a very impressive senior debut as well. Horn with his fourth corner of the afternoon. John Tate gets there again. Is it gathered by Adamson? It is not. And Kyle can only fend Horn. Kyle Draver, that is. But Horn smashes it off him, and it'll go out for a Ham throw-in. They retain possession, and as they have done for the majority of this first half. We're about 32 minutes in to the final here. Jason Scott. A bag up and under by the left back, Xander Scott. But Kyle Draver emerges with it. What's ahead of him? Looks for Jamie Tullett. A nice touch there. Harvey Rendell drifting out to the right-hand side there. As he touched on, Andrew, Harvey Rendell, I suppose it's from a Ham set piece, but he's found himself out of possession here. It's someone we've touched on so far. McPhail looks for Harvey Rendell now. But Mark Rendell shows all experience and shepherds the ball out. But as you say, when you're playing 4-4-2, do you need that discipline instead in a shape?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose now with most teams playing 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 or some sort of version with three guys in the middle, you need to decide what you're going to do about that when you don't have the ball. And normally your two options are to withdraw a striker onto the holding midfielder and apply pressure that way, or to play that midfield narrow when you don't have the ball, so that one of the wide players are always in contact. I don't know if St Ola have fully done all that successfully so far. I think the left-hand side of St Ola has suffered a wee bit so far.
So Ham have a free kick, just about hands with a halfway line here. Graham Horn will take it. Gives it short to Hancock. Hancock to Mooney. Mooney drifts inside, past Kemp, past Tate. Nice bit of play here. Thorfinn Scott squares, but he can't find a red shirt. I wonder if he could have put the laces through it, Andrew.
Felt like there was a pass too many there,
yeah.
But having said that, it was a nice move. But yeah, I think Thorfinn could have shot there.
You can see why he pulled it back, but sometimes you just feel like put the laces through it. Scott Rendell jinking and diving and ducking and diving, but he can only get another corner. A series of Ham corners in this first half.
Ham's delivery for corners has actually been pretty good, but St Ola look really strong aerially. They've got so many good players in the air, so probably crosses while they're going short here might be a good option.
Short corner indeed. Up into the box. Adamson just got underneath it, but it's no harm done. But a team effort to get that clear. Hancock charge doing by Rendell. No, St Ola can break. Just another poor pass. The final ball just lacking a bit of quality here in a green shirt, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, St Ola really have struggled to string more than 2 or 3 passes together most of the game.
Monkman goes down and looking for the free kick perhaps, but he got it nonetheless.
Yeah, a wee bit of experience there for Wayne just to leave the leg trailing, made sure he got the foul.
So a chance for some of the taller players to come forward for St Ola. Taken by Harvey Rendell here. Nice looking ball, but oh, is it? I wonder if Jamie Sutherland just dropped that there, or whether it was charged down by McLean. But there was, I don't believe, a whistle from. Is that the whistle there?
Yeah, no, I think.
I couldn't see if that was a whistle for the goal kick, or whether it was whistle for a foul on Sutherland. Because if it was a foul, there wasn't much in it. It's maybe he teamed the ball out of his hands, forced it out of his hands. I don't know, Andrew.
Possibly, it was really hard to tell from our angle whether he had two hands on the ball or not. But I think that's what he was saying, was that McLean took it out of his hands. But either way, they've survived.
Rendell turns well, but Stevenson's pass is prospective rather than quality, but Thorfinn Scott all the way back, farthest man back. McPhail bundles our Hancock again. Doesn't agree with the decision from Hamilton. Looked like a pretty straightforward foul to me. He came through the back of the man to get the ball.
The difficulty is when you're just that big and you're going into challenges with more normal sized players, it's almost inevitable you look like you're fouling them.
There's probably a bit of that indeed. And Ham have yet another free kick here. We've got an interested spectator on. We're Atmos mic, so a young fella just examining the microphone down in front of us. Maybe a future in broadcasting. Here's Shearer, gets his first chance to maybe get a shot away. Tulloch tries to get past Xander Scott, but Xander Scott's got so much pace. He does hit the byline. Drives it across. Sutherland sticks out a toe, but an acrobatic effort for Shearer. He didn't have much other options, but it was over the bar. But a bit of encouragement for St Ola there.
Yeah, and that's the first time we've really seen McPhail and Shearer able to link up on the ground, which of course is one of the advantages of playing with two strikers. Is you've got both the centre halves occupied and a wee bit of movement and a 1-2 there, and they were quite quickly through the defence. But Sutherland did well in goals just to stick a leg out and keep it out.
I see Duncan Gray has delegated filling up the water bottles to James Linklater, so that is one job he's given to somebody else. I wonder if he's got anybody else looking after the corner flags. A wee joke for Father Ted fans if anybody is watching or listening. 1-0 Ham it remains. Jamie Sutherland, the Ham goalkeeper, has it in his gloves. John Tate nods it down, but only two. Ryan Mooney, nice touch into Rendell. Oh my goodness! I think that touch for Mooney was maybe more by luck than by judgment, but it fell bonny for Scott Rendell, and again could have done better.
Yeah, it was great flick by Mooney, whether he fully intended it or not. Good first touch for Rendell then, but his second touch was a bit clumsy. It took it far too close to the keeper, and then Adamson, did what he had to do well, which is close the angle as quickly as possible. But Rendell's second touch allowed him to do that. Credit
to Adamson, he was out quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Flet in midfield now, looks for Rendell. Did he stay on side? I think he did. Shot away, but can't get across it. And a couple of Ham half chances. Well, that was more than a half chance, that one for Rendell. Again, a better finish for Rendell, a better finish for Jason Scott, and you could be looking at a 3-0 lead. Ifs and buts, I suppose, Andrew.
Yes, a wee bit reminiscent. A couple of games for me, I watched Ham earlier in the competition, and I felt that although they progressed through the matches and the ties pretty comfortably, in the end they were a wee bit wasteful. And obviously against a better team tonight than they've faced so far, you just never know if those misses might come back to haunt you.
McPhail looks long. Tulloch grabs it off Horn. Tulloch, what can he do with it now? Gives it to his right back. Looks for the cross, but it's straight into the gloves of Jamie Sutherland. Jamie Sutherland rolls it out for Mooney. Mooney has to take a touch. Wanted it ahead of him. Stevenson robbed by the imposing figure of McLean. McLean charging forward, which if you're from a Ham point of view, that's the last thing you want is him charging towards you. He's a big physical presence. And I would say St Ola, barring that chance from Scott Rendell there, they have come into it a bit more in the past 5-10 minutes, Andrew.
Yeah, definitely. They've had one or two chances, and this is the sort of things they'll be looking for, set pieces here too.
Nice looking ball by Monkman.
Yeah.
There was the kernel of an idea there, but
it's really difficult from the centre of the pitch to deliver a ball from that close in and get the angle for someone to attack it. He'd prefer a bit more angle so that he can whip it across.
5 minutes to go or so in this first half. We had one stop for a niggle on Monkman, but not too much to report in the way injuries apart from that. That ball goes out and Charlie Allway flags for the Ham throw. So 5 to go or so, Andrew. What's the message going to be in both dressing rooms, do you think?
Well, I think from Ham's point of view, the game has probably gone the way that they would have hoped it would. They opted to play with the wind and look to press on and get a lead, which they've got. The one concern for Brunton will be it's only one at the moment.
Rendell looks for Mooney at the back post. Adamson gathers. And in the St Ola dressing room?
And St Ola, well, they've not had anywhere near as much of the ball as they would like to, but they've played against the wind. They lost a goal in the first 5 minutes, so if they can get in at 1-0 down, in many ways, I think they'll be quite buoyed by that.
Yeah,
but they will have to play better.
Here we go, Thorfinn Scott's in. A bit of a mix up in the St Ola defence. Thorfinn Scott, well done. John Tate, he used every bit of his experience there to close the angle. It looked like just a bit of a ruffle in the St Ola defence there, and all of a sudden Thorfinn Scott was bearing down on goal. So I'm not quite sure what happened. We'll need to watch that one back, but another half chance. I think John Tate just did enough to pick Thorfinn Scott off his stride with 2 or 3 minutes left of this first half. Yeah, just to recycle back a 30 seconds or so, as you say, St Ola to go in at 1-0 is probably a better result for them, especially after that the chances since Ham have had and such an early goal. They've regrouped and 1-0. It's all to play for in the second half. A few minutes to go first here though. Jamie Tulloch. Monkman's looking for the ball. Oh, can he get there? He does. Looks for Shearer. Oh, he's in! Oh, cleared off the line by Mark Rendell. And that's Wayne Monkman. Well, a nice square ball from Jamie Tulloch to Wayne Monkman. Monkman, perfect weight of ball for Graham Shearer. And when Jamie Sutherland seemed to kind of get over the top of the ball, you're thinking it's there for a tap in, but Mark Rendell just did enough to clear it for a corner.
And I think that sums up the sort of jeopardy for Ham of only having a 1-0 lead. It only takes one or two good passes to set up a chance, and that could easily have been the equaliser.
Here's Jamie Tulloch now. Scott Rendell, very capable in there. Jamie Rendell gets a second chance. Nice looking ball right on top of Jamie Sutherland, but a safe pair of hands from Sutherland. He's just calming everybody down. Find your shape, he says. Here's Horn to Scott. Kyle Draver gathers. Gregor Dowell all the way back to his goalkeeper. Jamie Tulloch, of course, playing the right-hand side, following in his father's footsteps. He was a good St Ola player as well, Andrew. Stephen?
Yeah, Stephen, played against him a lot, and in fact he was playing up until not too that long ago. I think he got a bad injury, didn't he?
Yeah,
Did he break his leg or something?
I wonder if that there was an injury ended him right enough. Nodded on by Shearer, looking for McPhail, but wasn't to be. Darren McLean being a bit more advanced as the game's worn on. He's certainly not frightened to leave his centre half berth and move forward. But I suppose when you've got the cover of John Tate, you maybe have the luxury of doing that.
I think that's something Darren's always had in his game, because he has quite a fearsome sight coming charging out of defence, and he does like a run forward. So yeah, it's maybe a good tactic for St Ola, to get an extra player in the game. Oh,
Reid Kemp, that came out of nothing. Reid Kemp, right-footed, got the shot away, and Jamie Sutherland had to use all his height to get down and prevent that gun in the bottom corner. Just something out of nothing there, and Reid Kemp forces a save. It goes for another corner. Jamie Tulloch, just with moments left in this first half, will take a St Ola corner. Looks for Draver, but drifts by the post.
Yeah, it was a cracking strike from Kemp. He caught that really well and got good direction as well, and Sutherland was equal to it. But a worrying thing for Ham there from that corner was how they left Kyle Drever completely unmarked.
That's not what you want to do.
He didn't do his best with it, but they can't afford to do that too many times.
So, end injury time now. We're just at the scows of the first half. Ewan Stevenson turns. Robbed by Drever. Drever looks for Scherer. Horn puts it. No, he doesn't put it back to his goalkeeper. He sees it out and leaves the throw in for his left back, a good bit younger Xander Scott. Charlie thinks about it, gives the throw to Ham. That is the full-time whistle. 1-0 to Ham here at the Parish Cup Final at the Kirkwall Grammar School, and we go in at 1-0 as a result of that early Jason Scott goal scored within the 4-minute mark. Bit of a scuffed finish, but he'll not be worrying about that at this stage. He's put his team ahead, and the Ham undoubtedly had the better of that half. St Ola came into it as the game went on, but it remains 1-0 to the East Mainland side. Of course, the Cattle champion today at the county show was for Fubistar Netherton Ham. So are we about to see a double on county show day, Andrew? You never know. So that remains to be seen. But yes, sum up your thoughts after that first half.
Well, I think Ham have played the better football. I think most folk would agree with that. Although that last 5 minutes or so, we started to see St Ola exerting a bit more pressure into the game. I think St Ola will be partially relieved and not displeased with getting in at 1-0 down. They've got to think about who they're gonna change things now. So in the second half to get more of a foothold on the game, and I think for Ham it would be more of the same, but make sure you take your chances.
Well, we've been joined now by Mark Harkis, a man well known to myself and sports editor of the Arcadian. Shuffle onto the platform here, Andrew, so our fans on commentator cam can see you. And Mark, you've been watching intently at the sidelines here. What was your thoughts on that first half?
Yeah, well, I think Ham came out really imposing themselves on the game from the front, from the first minute, from the first whistle. Louis Hancock doing the right hand side, causing real problems, winning free kicks, corners, etc. And I think the opener was fully deserved. But I think after that, kind of St Ola imposed themselves a little bit more in the game, became a bit more of a scrappy kind of affair, and really going into half time, it was it's really nip and tuck.
Do you think there's an argument to be made for St Ola to maybe think about change of formation in the second half, or would you be inclined to leave it as it is for the first moments?
Well, I don't know. You have to look at the danger men. You've got McPhail up there. You've got Graham Scherer, excellent player. Have they really imposed themselves as an attacking force on the game? I would probably argue they haven't so far up to about 5 minutes up to the half time there. Will they change it? I don't think they will in the early stages of the second half, but certainly if they come up to 55, 60 minutes and things are going the way they are, I think they'll probably look to change personnel or change formation.
I suppose, Andrew, you're looking a county standard player like Jay Fubistar on the bench for St Ola, but he's coming on in centre midfield. It's how you try to find a goal for St Ola, because ultimately, as much as anything else, they need to find a goal to get it back into this game.
Yeah, I think a player like Jay could potentially help them get a wee bit more control in the middle of the pitch, but it depends how much he's fit for. I think Duncan in his pre-match interview was certainly quite clear he wasn't fit to start, so at what point do you look to introduce him? I suspect, kind of as Mark hinted at there, it won't be until probably 60 minutes or even beyond. but he'll want to see how things go. I mean, based on that last 10 minutes before half-time, it probably makes Duncan feel less likely that he needs to change anything just now, because they started causing him a few problems.
I suppose we're talking about St Ola's subs, Mark, but Ham have lots of talent there on the bench, not least Stephen Edwards, who can come and impose all his experience on the match. They've got Chris Scott, who's got pace to burn, same as the rest of his brothers, and Andrew Mulrain, of course, a really attacking player as well. So Ham have the ability to change things as well.
I mean, I think Ham as a squad is as strong a power squad as what I've seen in many a year. You look at their bench, and it's just filled with quality. As you say, Stephen Edwards, if you're chasing a goal, you can put him on up top. If you're defending a lead, you can put him on at centre back, or even just sitting right in front of the back four, screening the midfield play. You've got Chris Scott, who's always likely to get you a goal. Mike Gullion. Ken Gullion, he comes on. He's been a fantastic player for Ham Parish over the years. So I think the squad at Ham is excellent, and I think the players that come off the bench, there's no weaker players in this squad. They've all got their part to play, and they all buy into it so well. It really is just a full squad effort here.
Yeah, Andrew, speaking to, whenever you bump into somebody for the kind of football community, there's always a yarn about the Parish Cup Final, and I think the general consensus is that these two squads are just maybe a pretty bit more depth than the rest of the competition. There's guys on the bench for both teams who would undoubtedly start for every other parish.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think depth is the key word there, and that depth is often important for teams to make it through to this stage. Obviously, when it gets to the Parish Cup Final, suddenly everyone's fit and available. but quite often in the earlier rounds, you have guys with work commitments, injuries, social commitments, whatever it might be, that take away. And if you've got that ability to replace 2 or 3 players in the earlier rounds and still progress, that's huge. But a lot of parishes don't have that luxury.
No, absolutely. Well, let's just have a run through how the two parishes actually did get here. Right enough, St Ola, a very comfortable win against Dernis in the first round. The quarter-final, Mark, you were there against South Ronaldsay. I mean, penalties, they say they're a lottery. I'm not sure if they are or not, but that was as close as St Ola came to getting out of this competition.
Yeah, I mean, I was there on the second leg, and it was a fantastic advert for parish football, I have to say. It was again, 2 really evenly matched sides going ham on tongue, and I think South Ronaldsay can feel really quite hard aggrieved that they didn't actually progress out of that, because they put up such a good performance. I agree. I don't know if penalties are a lottery or not, but it just so happened on the day that St Ola held their nerve, and South Ronaldsay, it didn't go the way the penalty shootout for them. So I think but that for St Ola, that showed that it wasn't just skill or anything. They really had to dig deep to get through that tie. They had to show their resolve. They probably weren't the best team on the day, but they got through in the end, and that kind of shows it's all hallmarks of a good team.
Yeah, the last commentary we did here with Radio Orkney was on the Milne Cup, of course, and Aidan Draver had a fantastic game in that, but that match against St Ola at the Bignell, he was every bit as good. He was just running the show to a big extent. So South Ronaldsay didn't quite get past St Ola. St Ola got through on penalties. We touched on the goalkeepers there, and I actually wonder South Ronaldsay not to slag off Roy Mills at all, because he pits on the gloves and he does a good job. But when it came to the penalty shootout, you could just see Robert Adamson in goals for St Ola just maybe had that bit more experience in nets. But nonetheless, St Ola got through and then ultimately beat Rendell 5-1, our aggregate in the semi-final. For Ham, it's been goals galore. They beat Bursey 6-4. On aggregate, the first in the first round. Ham beat Stennis 9-1 in the quarter final. The two legs, and then 10-2. Westry, last year's winners, in the semi final. So I think Andrew Alken, they've got goals in the team, and their record in the competition so far shows it.
Yeah, definitely. And these guys are playing week in, week out together. If you look at their sort of attacking quartet that they've got out today, which obviously helps in terms of understanding and also the success they've been having this season. It breeds confidence. The only thing I would say is that out of that, you probably don't have an out-and-out finisher. You know, Scotty Rendell has a lot of qualities, and he's a really good player for them, but he's not a really clinical striker. And the three attacking guys behind them, they're good creative players, but then they're not a sort of finisher, perhaps in the mould of a Graham Shearer or a Ross Slater or someone of that ilk. And that's probably one thing that the Ham squad, you know, just misses.
I just wonder, Mark, in the years to come, whether we'll see Jason Scott playing on the left tonight, but he did that for Orkney in the Milne Cup, but then moved into centre forward when Jamie Flett went off after about an hour. I just wonder if Jason Scott will kind of eventually specialise as a number 9.
Well, he could do. You can obviously it's up to him and obviously the managers at the time that will obviously dictate his position, but I think he's got all the qualities that you'd want out of a number 9, and I think that is why he has now played as a number 9 for Orkney and East United and stuff. So he's got all the qualities to do that position. But I mean, obviously we're speaking about Scotty Rendell up there as a number 9. And he's got fantastic qualities too. You get his strength and his pace and all the rest of it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of options that they could go either way, but yeah, if Ham Parish wanted to go down as for number 9 for Jason Scott, I think he's a fantastic player, and he would perform that job admirably.
Yes, admirably indeed, and we touched on it before kickoff. How much of a difference do you think the high percentage of East players is making in this Ham team?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. Again, these are boys that are playing week in, week out. Again, they've all bought into this, the kind of philosophy and thinking behind East United. They've taken that to the Ham Parish team, and you can see it. They're a close-knit bunch. You've Richie Brunton and James Henry, two fantastic coaches, really experienced, ken what they're speaking about, ken what they're doing, ken what they want to do, and the Ham Parish boys have bought into that, and that has only helped East United, but it has also helped Ham Parish, vice versa.
I wonder, Andrew, we touched on it, or I touched on it with Richie in his pre-match interview, but Mark's talking about buying into this philosophy of they do quite a bit of training and put a big emphasis on that, and guys like Stephen Edwards, Graham Horn, Magnus Flett, they've remained fit and remained active, and they give such a good example to look up to for the young lads like the Scott brothers and all the rest of them.
Yeah, they're very influential, and there's a clear link there. Once the manager does his job and sends a team out to play, then he's kind of done all he can to a certain extent, but they almost have coaches and managers on the pitch, I think, because they work together, these senior players and the coaches, to develop the team. So I think that has been really, really crucial for all the quality and ability they have in their young players. You need that one or two heads as well who are going to keep things on the road when things aren't maybe going as well.
Well, it's the players emerging, so thank you very much, Mark, for joining us, and have you enjoyed your county show day?
Yeah, it's been excellent. Been at the sheep pens all day, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Great exhibit of livestock for Orkney's farmers again, and I got a walk round and enjoyed a burger or two, so yeah, thoroughly enjoyable.
any of the rides, the Sizzler or the Waltzers or anything with the Bairns?
I wasn't on them personally, but the Bairns was, and they told me it was excellent.
Great to hear. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And that's Mark Harkus, sports editor from the Arcadian, sponsors of the Parish Cup. So we're just about to get the second half underway here. And new St Ola going with the wind in the second half. St Ola kicking towards the Pabdale scheme end of the pitch. Ham Gandoon towards the Al Pabdale Hostel and the Pabdale school there. So off we go. That is the second half underway. And Reid Kemp gets his first touch of this second half. No changes at half time as far as I can see. All the numbers 1 to 11 on both sides remain on the pitch. And the next 45 minutes will decide the destination of the Parish Cup, or perhaps we're looking at extra time. You never know. Graham Shearer gets his first touch. Looks for McPhail, a strike partner, but he's tackled by Hancock. Hancock developed into a very young, good young player, Andrew.
Yeah, he's done well tonight. I thought he's made good use of that wee bit of space that he's had, and he's defended solidly when he's had to. Again, another guy who's being brought on by the good players around him, I would say, at East.
There's Stevenson, one of those good players. Looks for Rendell in the right-hand channel. Scott Rendell ahead of him. Can't keep it in. Hancock, of course, made his Orkney debut in, I believe, the Wick Academy game, I think, earlier in the summer. Hancock gives it to Thorfinn Scott. Thorfinn Scott, a yard of space here. Looks up. Wonder if he could have maybe gotten a shot away, but McLean clears. I wonder if it was going to be a ball into Tulloch, but not to be. Rendell. Hancock can only play it out. No sign of any change of shape, certainly so far, as we're talking about at half time. Duncan Gray, the St Ola manager, certainly happy to remain at 4-4-2 for the time being. Thank you for joining us on Radio Orkney. It's the second half of the Arcadian Parish Cup Final here at the KGS. If you're looking for commentary on Hearts and Dundee, why would you? But it is on BBC Sounds. But we'd strongly encourage you to stick with us here on the Ham St Ola. It's 1-0 Ham at this moment in time. Harvey Rendell looks for McPhail, but it's noted forward by Mark Rendell. I wonder if there's something in that. Yes, Scott Rendell stops. We'll wait to see which way his arm goes. I thought it would have been a St Ola foul. Ham free kick.
Yeah, I thought the same.
Just McLean just got a bit underneath it, lost control of it and fouled Scott Rendell in the process, but we'll see what Scott Hamilton wants to do. Hamilton's not had too much to do. John Tate possibly can feel aggrieved. It's been given to Ham. So it's interesting the different ways we see and different angles you get, Andrew.
Yeah, that's a strange decision because McLean lost the ball under it and then tried to turn back, and for what I could see, Scott got his toe on the ball and McLean brought him down, but there you go.
Here is John Tate. But aimless, that ball. Didn't quite know who he was going for, but Ham will have to deal with a throw in here deep and next to their own corner flag, but Hancock stole a good few yards there. Here is Monkman. Wayne Monkman. St Ola yet to actually get a corner. They've been not quite backs against the wall, but playing against the wind that first half. That's offside by Scott Rendell. Charlie's flag, clear 2 or 3 yards off was Mr. Rendell. It is breezy here at the KGS, where flags and where paperwork's just flapping a pretty bit. And here come Ham on the halfway line. Thorfinn Scott. Handball, I would have thought. Yes, his hand was naturally positioned. A nice ball in to Graham Shearer. I think he wasn't getting there and went down like a sack of tatties. So nothing in it for Scott Hamilton. I think probably the right decision.
I think it was maybe just a wee nick of feet as they both set off running for that ball, but no, not a foul.
Scott Rendell emerges with the ball. Looks for his teammate Mooney, but can't find him. Shearer tries to knock it off for his strike partner McPhail. McPhail, another foul. He'll be totting them up in Scott Hamilton's kind of mental notebook. None of them, not much in any of them, but just, as we've touched on, just Baldwin folk hour, really.
Yeah, nothing really malicious about it. That's about the best description of them.
Horn against the wind now, of course, in this second half. Looks for Jason Scott. He's holding the ball up. Jamie Tulloch doing some defensive duties. I just feel like I always think it's a real cliche for commentators, but the next goal is so crucial, Andrew. 2-0, and you wonder if it's too far back for St Ola.
Huge. I mean, I think a second for Ham would leave St Ola with a mountain to climb, but a St Ola goal is well possible. Ham are starting to knock it about a wee bit better again now.
Xander Scott on this left-hand side, being hassled by Gregor Dowell. Scott Rendell got a lovely long throw on him, uses it to look for Jason Scott, but shepherded through to Adamson's gloves by Monkman. Very experienced and doing his defensive work there. Mooney, not seen too much for him in an attacking sense in this game. Thorfinn Scott, we've certainly seen plenty of him. Nice tackle by Graham Shearer.
Yeah, good working back there from Shearer. He could see that the midfield was a wee bit exposed, and he did a good job coming back to nick that off Thorfinn Scott.
Hancock gives the throw to Mooney. McPhail brushes Mark Rendell off the ball, gives it to Harvey Rendell. Harvey Rendell crosses, but that was really not what he's looking for in that final third. St Ola really need to improve on that aspect of the game if they're to get anything from this match. Harvey Rendell looks for Graham Shearer, but Harvey Rendell on that left-hand side has seen a bit of the ball, Andrew, but he'll just be disappointed with sometimes that final ball's not just been quite there.
Yeah, he's an exciting young player. I've seen him play his club football for East. I just wonder, it's slightly different system and slightly different ask of him as a wide player in this system, and I'm not convinced he looks entirely comfortable, or it's just something a wee bit different for what he probably does week in, week out, and it's marginal things, but for a young player that's maybe enough to make it a little bit difficult for him. But he's not in a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but we've seen him for East United really be very, very dangerous.
Oh, it's going to almost come all the way through for Thorfinn Scott there, but no harm done from a St Ola point of view. But going back to, you bring up a good point. Left, to use Championship manager parlance, left midfield compared to left attacking midfield are two. It's a slight difference, but it's quite a big difference in a lot of ways. You don't have that luxury of two sitting midfielders behind you to mop things up.
He'll have to tuck in more in this game and do more defensive work. But that was a huge chance for Thorfinn Scott there before. I think by his reaction, I think he knew that was a gilt-edged opportunity.
Robert Adamson gets the ball off his right back Dowell. Harvey Rendell nods forward to McPhail. McPhail is offside. Scott Hamilton hasn't spotted it yet. Again, the referees have buzzers in their flags, and maybe Ramey's forgotten about the buzz, but Scott Hamilton acknowledges the call and doesn't bring it back for the free kick. Ham have possession anyway, so on we go. We're 8 or 9 minutes into this the second half of this match. Remains Ham 1, St Ola 0. Jason Scott goal after about 3.5 minutes is the difference. Duncan Gray prowling the sidelines in front of us here, and Richie Brunton doing this well. He's having a He's doing the same at the other side. Himself and James Henry. Into the box, high into the gloves of Robert Adamson. I see there's one Ham sub warming up there on the far hint the goals. I wonder if that is Stephen Edwards, is it, Andrew? I think it might be.
I think that is Edwards, yeah.
I wonder if he's just keeping himself warm or whether there's something afoot. McPhail dropping a bit deeper. Battling with Boo Stevenson. Here comes Thorfinn Scott.
I mean, I think there as well, there could be something about to happen, but it could just be good experience and keeping yourself ready.
Keeping yourself ready and maybe giving a word to some of his players when they happen to be in his earshot.
It'd be interesting, as Mark said at half time, where, if he does come on, where he comes on at.
Because you go anywhere through the spine of the side, of course.
Yeah. I kind of fancy he might come on as a striker replacement.
Yeah.
If everything's still kind of as it is and there's no issues in the defence from Ham's perspective, I would not be surprised to see him come on up top.
I would love to see him up top and battling with McLean and Tate. I think that would be worth the entrance fee alone. Not that I paid an entrance fee to get in, but nonetheless, I think it'll be worth seeing. That's a haul back by Harvey Rendell on his opposite number, Ryan Mooney, both wearing number 11. A wee tug of the shirt. And it'll be a Ham free kick as we work towards the hour mark in this Parish Cup final. Darren McLean. Mark Rendell wide to Louis Hancock. Louis Hancock gives to Thorfinn Scott. He was half a yard off, I think, indeed. Charlie Holloway raises his flag aloft. You could just see that development there, and a good line by St Ola. John Tate will take the resultant free kick. Is he going to go diagonal looking for Dowell? I think he does. Dowell not been seen in it. Oh, and lovely touch down to Tulloch, but cleared by Horn. Dowell comes back, he gives it straight to Scott Rendell. Tackles, and can he keep the ball in? He does.
Yeah, good play all round there by Dowell. First header or attempted header into the striker's path, and then good work coming back to win a couple of tackles and stop any breakaway. He's so quick, Gregor Dowell. He's got that recovery pace. You saw him there just overtake Jason Scott quite effortlessly.
Here's Draver. Yeah, Gregor Dowell, another player who can fill in a number of positions. He's played right wing for the county. He's played right back, I believe, for the county as well, and he's certainly played both positions for St Ola as well. So somebody who that pace can be so useful.
And centre of the park as well, I think, at times for
right.
OFC over the winter,
Right,
certainly, and maybe for Rovers on occasion too. But I personally prefer him as a fullback.
Rendell looking for Stevenson for Ham. Stevenson. Can he get past? There is Dowell again. Just enough in that for a foul. One of that ones where it's an easy decision to give in the, maybe no much in it, but an easy decision to give in the opposition box, Andrew. Like I say, no much in it, but just enough to, when the defender hits the floor, sometimes it's enough to give a foul. Adamson takes the kick. Looks for Monkman and McPhail, both going for it, but Horn, very good in there as well, and he clears. Back to Adamson. This is not where St Ola necessarily want the ball to be, but they do have that wind to hint them. Wonder if we'll see them go more direct as the game wears on, and if they can't find the goal.
I think they have to be quite honest. They either have to get round St Ola at the sides and get crosses in, or they need to go more direct to the two strikers. I don't think they're going to play their way through the Ham side with intricate football, to be honest with you.
I don't think so, no. There's I wonder if Ewan Stevenson, he has had his injury problems this year, and I think he's just given the bench a signal there, 5 minutes to go. So we'll I wonder if his race is nearly run. Ewan Stevenson.
Yeah, I thought he started well, but he has gone quieter as the game goes on. That's obviously a loss for them, because he's a super player when he's fully fit.
Absolutely, and he's developing into a really, really good centre midfielder, but good to see him making this game when he's maybe not played a vast amount of football. I think he would have certainly been involved in the county had he been fitter, but he's made an impression on this game. It'll be interesting to see whether that will be Stephen Edwards' time to shine, or whether we look at maybe. I mean, I can't see past Edwards coming on, especially with that 1-0 lead, but you would have the option for maybe a shuffle of the pack and bring on Chris Scott or possibly Andrew Mulrain. We'll see what Ham choose to do, if indeed that is the last action for Ewan Stevenson.
One other option, I mean, I think all of these are possibles. One other option might be Gillian coming on in a wide position and Jason Scott moving inside as well.
St Ola, a kind of long, hopeful free kick into the box. I thought it was going to be effortless for Jamie Sutherland, but he, I don't know if he made a hash of it or whether he was just making sure of it, but he tipped it round the post, and it'll be a St Ola corner, the first St Ola corner of the match, and the hour mark. So it shows you just quite where the territory's been in this game, but it's only 1-0 to Ham. So Jamie Tulloch takes the... In fact, I'm speaking absolute rubbish. I think they had a corner in the first half.
That's really disappointing with the with the wind. You've just seen the keeper make a handling error there. That cross had to be in there about the 6 yard line and put him under pressure again. That was really disappointing.
To go into the side netting when you're, it's very disappointing, as you say. Here's Ham breaking up the other end, lays it back. Well, Thorfinn Scott gets a shot away wide of the post. I think Thorfinn Scott and Scott Rendell just a bit of communication there. Could have obviously Thorfinn Scott chose to take it under control and get the shot, but I wonder if Scott Rendell maybe had the better lie there. But nonetheless, it remains 1-0 to Ham, and that will be time for a change for St Ola. We're seeing 14 coming on. Number 14 is Jay Fubistar indeed. Yes, I didn't recognise him. Jay Fubistar is coming on. Let's see who's coming off in a green shirt. And 14 for Edwards comes on. 14 for Ham. Edwards comes on. So that is maybe the change we're kind of half expecting. Did you watch who went off for St Ola there, Andrew? Just trying to work it out. Is it?
I wonder if
it the left back.
I wonder if it's
going 3 at the back.
Kemp. Yeah, yes. Kyle Drever seems to have dropped in with McLean and John Tate to make a back 3.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
So it looks like they're going 3-5-2.
So that'll be interesting. Nice touch from McPhail. Gets a shot away, but it's would have been a conversion in one of his other sports, but nothing in this game. So just to recap those changes, Reid Kemp goes off for St Ola to be replaced by Jay Fubistar, and we think that's resulted in a change in formation. Kyle Draver has dropped into centre half alongside John Tate and Darren McLeod, so 3 imposing centre halves. The 3 in the middle for St Ola will be Monkman, Fubistar, and we're thinking Jamie Tulloch playing at number 10, Gregor Dowell left wing and right wing, and Harvey Rendell left wing. So a change in shape, and I wonder if the whole thing just maybe fits a bit better, Andrew, now possibly. I mean, would you have any concerns about pace at the back possibly?
I can see why he's done it. I think he needed to try something a bit different, and I think Jay's an excellent player to take on in the middle. My only worry for it would be the same worry I would always have with a back 3 with 3 centre halves, is the pace in these channels.
Here we go. Exactly. Scott Rendell comes down the left channel, getting a shot away, squares for Mooney. 2-0 Ham. St Ola concede just moments after making that change. What an impact that those substitutions have had, and not necessarily in a good way, as you were just saying, Andrew. When you go from having 2 fullbacks to playing 3 centre halves, Scott Rendell in space on the left hand side makes his way into the box, squares for Mooney, effortless finish into the top corner, and game on now in terms of for Ham, because they have a 2-0 lead. Is that amounting too far for or a bridge too far for St Ola, do you think?
I fancy it probably is, unless they can get a quick one back. But centre halves, big centre halves, don't like getting drawn out to play man to man in wide areas, and that's exactly what Ham did straight away. Rendell was able to beat Jonty, and good pass to Mooney and a nice finish.
Yes, he got his head up and the awareness, just a square for Mooney there. He stayed on side here, uses all his strength to shield McLean. And we've not had a chance to speak about it yet, but yes, Ewan Stevenson came off for Ham, and Stephen Edwards came on, and Edwards has gone in that centre midfield alongside Magnus Flett and Thorfinn Scott. He'll just sit, do the dirty work, and try to just see this game out, Andrew.
Yeah, he'll be in there to just control things. He'll sit in front of the back four and make sure that the centre halves are well protected and that the young guys are continuing to do their job.
25 to go in this Parish Cup final. It's 2-0 to Ham, with Ryan Mooney, the right winger, doubling their lead just a couple of minutes ago. And both sides have made one sub, with St Ola changing shape. Not too successfully at this moment in time, but I suppose what's unfortunate in that situation is they hardly had a chance to really settle into their new formation, Andrew, and they're on the back foot.
It's always the risk of changing things, but
you can't blame Duncan for changing.
No, there's still a good bit of the game to go, and so we'll need to see whether the changes help St Ola going forward. But that is always that risk when you've made changes like that, both in terms of shape and in personnel. There's probably a couple of minutes where you're just a wee bit susceptible to a break, and that's exactly what happened.
Here's another St Ola change. Cian Vendy is going to come on for Captain McPhail up front. So a change in physicality, maybe a change in shape, maybe trying to attempt to play through Ham rather than that more physical approach up front. I wonder if Vendy will just drop in slightly deeper and push Jamie Tulloch further forward. Try and get Jamie Tulloch into the game in an attacking sense. We've not seen too much from him. Mooney, the goal scorer, goes out, unfortunately, for a Ham, from a Ham point of view. But a nice finish, cool finish under pressure for Mooney, Andrew.
Yeah, very much. A player who I think's underrated. You know, he does a good job in the league. He does a good job for Ham in the parish, and quite often for Hotspurs over the years he's been on the bench or maybe even in the reserve team, and he's always a player who I must say I've always felt capable of a bit more, but he's got his goal today, and fair play to him.
Yeah, he's one of these players, as you say, he's probably involved most Tuesdays, most Thursdays, and then Sundays on for Paris. Well, here is a St Ola break. Gregor Dowell coming across, tries to square for Shearer. Well done, Louis Hancock just slices it over his own bar, but he had to get that because Shearer was lurking, waiting for scraps. Yeah,
and maybe now you're seeing the flip side of that change, and that St Ola's got an extra player to push through from the middle and cause Ham some problems.
Tulloch with a corner. Great corner this time. Oh, St Ola header for McLean, but it was straight at Sutherland. But a bit of encouragement there for the Kirkwall side. And Ham, as you say, just need to watch. They've got that 2-goal lead, but the next goal for St Ola would give them a bit of encouragement as we move into the final quarter of the match.
That's the first time we've really seen St Ola look dangerous for a set piece, which
that'll be disappointing for them.
I think it is, yeah, but you know, if that's something they have to play on for this last 25 minutes or however long we'll have left, because they are hugely powerful in there.
You've been here and done it before in Parish Cup finals, Andrew. You know, a 2-0 lead with a quarter of the game to go. What's your approach? We'll just see what happens here. Thorfinn Scott to win the game. He does. Thorfinn Scott has, you've got to imagine, Andrew, won the match for St Ola. That was just a nice intricate move between him and his brother Jason. Jason laid it off on the edge of the box to Thorfinn, and he slashes it into the top corner. 3-0 Ham, and you've got to imagine that'll be that.
Yeah, clever interplay between the two of them, and again, I think what you're seeing here is the downside of having three big imposing centre halves. They just don't necessarily have the turn of pace or the ability to track these smaller, younger, faster players when they're linking play up like that. So again, unfortunately, I think the change has worked against St Ola there.
I've been really impressed with Orphan Scott, and I think his performance has been worth a goal, Andrew. That's capped off what's been a very impressive game for him.
He's been the best player on the pitch, I think, hands down. I don't think there's any argument about that at all.
It's not quite that he's ran the show in the middle, but every time he's got the ball, he's looked to do something with it. He's looked to go forward. Here's Horn with a free kick.
Yeah, he's looked really dangerous. He's not one of these midfielders who just are happy to play easy sideways or backwards passes to keep the ball.
Oh, Horn can't quite. I think he was looking for a very, very low header there back to his goalkeeper, but just ran out of air. Gravity took over, and the ground was coming at him quicker than he could get the ball headed. But Sutherland was off his line.
I thought he was going to land on top of the ball there, but
there's McLean at centre half. Gives it to his right centre half, John Tate. There's three at the back now. Harvey Rendell new on the right hand side. I wonder if Gregor Dowell's been told to switch with him just to change things up a bit. But very disappointing from a St Ola point of view. Barring that 5 or 10 minutes in the first half, we've just not seen very much from them, Andrew.
No, but I think what you're seeing is the relative youth and pace of the forward and midfield areas of Ham have taken control today, and as much as a lot of that players for St Ola in that area have huge quality and experience, at the end of the day, when good young players like that come through, it can be very, very difficult to kind of counteract them.
St Ola corner though. Let's see if they can grab themselves some interest for the last few minutes. It's a nice header again by McLean. down into the ground, but nothing comes of it. I mean, it's easy when a team comes to a final and wins relatively comfortably like this to get carried away, but it does look ominous for the rest of the parishes, because this Ham team, your average age is obviously brought up by Edwards, Horn and Flett, but you know they're going to be there or thereabouts for years to come, this bunch of players.
Yeah, and that's what tends to happen in the Parish Cup.
Scherer on side. Squares, but
yeah,
Horn.
Just pause in there. I thought he was going to get through on goal.
Yeah.
I think, that tends to happen in the parish, doesn't it? When you get a group of good players and they're all committed and so on. But things can change quite quickly as well. Every team's time comes to an end at some point. But certainly at the moment, you would think Ham are going to be challenging for the Parish Cup for at least the next 5 years, quite comfortably.
There's Fraser Merriman comes on for his first appearance in a Parish Cup final. Kyle Draver, the man to make way, and as much as you don't want to be coming on at 3-0 down, Andrew, it's a big thing. There's hundreds of players don't get a chance to play in a Parish Cup final, so to make an appearance at this stage and in this in front of this size of crowds, a good thing or quite a thing. There's plenty of players in Orkney don't get that chance. Yeah,
and it's a nice moment too for his family. I see his mum and dad standing there doing in front of us, and I'm sure they'll be glad to see him on. But it does look very much like a Ham win. But we've seen a couple of corners there from St Ola. If they could get one goal, then it's amazing how a mentality can change quite quickly.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there are 16 minutes plus stops to go. A goal in the next 5 or so for St Ola would just give Ham something to think about. Get a bit of liven up the game a bit. Long throw there from John Tate. Is it going to drop for a St Ola shot? It can't. Oh, it does for Vendy a few 20 yards out, but he's that shot is high, wide, and not so handsome. And the score remains Ham 3, St Ola 0. St Ola, I mean, barring a comeback at this stage, St Ola will go away. They'll lick their wounds, and this group of players, barring you know, the vastly experienced Monkman, they're certainly the core of a good young team here for St Ola as well.
Yeah, I mean they've got
Harvey Rendell gathers the ball from a Ham free spy kick, but Xander Scott, of course, keeping pace with him and gives away the corner, but he'll be happy enough with that. Harvey Rendell was looking dangerous. So 15 to go. St Ola have a corner. Deep towards John Tate. And we've seen John Tate score some mighty impressive headers in his time, but that was just a bit too deep for him. And I wonder if a few folk are maybe just starting to drift away, possibly heading home, or maybe some towards the hostelries of Kirkwolf or County Show Night. But still a very healthy crowd here watching the last 14 minutes or so of this Parish Cup final. And I suppose a footnote to this match will be that Ham become the first team to win at the grammar school, possibly first and last, depending on future years and what the OAFA decide to do in terms of hosting finals. I think Picky's got a lot going for it, but this has been a more than good substitute up here at the school, given away by Mooney. Harvey Rendell can't do very much with it.
I wonder what the plans for the presentation are.
I think it's
There's
just
no balcony.
No balcony whatsoever. A long throw by Edwards, and I think that's Thorfinn Scott was just bundled over. No, it's no Thorfinn Scott. It's somebody cramping up there on the far side. It's been brought back for a by kick. So will they give the boy with cramp a chance to do anything? They will not. St Ola carry on.
I think that might be Louis Hancock.
Oh well, no wonder he's been up and doing that right hand side like a machine, like a Jack Russell and Red Bull. And here we go. Cian Vendy, not seen too much for him yet. Cian Vendy, will he bring back the advantage? Scott Hamilton, I thought he got a tug back on the shirt, but nothing doing. There's the same tug in reverse. Here's Jason Scott now. Scott Rendell had a very decent game up top. Gives it to Thorfinn. Gives it to Xander Scott at left back. He squares, but Fraser Merriman clears. Scott Rendell gets the corner off of his namesake Harvey. Yes, Louis Hancock can have no complaints about his performance. He is going to be substituted off, I believe.
He's done a huge amount of running up and down that right hand side, and you know, I think that's where in the first half especially Ham got most of their joy, and you know, ultimately there was the St Ola left back was taken off, and that was in big part to the doubling up.
There's another
that Ham were doing.
It's not Louis Hancock. He doesn't get a break. Two Scott brothers go off. Thorfinn, probably our man of the match, I think. Andrew and Jason both go off. Jason getting a stretch for James Henry there. James Henry will be ecstatic to see another Parish Cup coming to Ham, assuming no massive comeback in the next 10 minutes or so. Graham Horn cleared from the front post area. The corner. Edwards. An inventive shot there. He had Adamson scrambling. Whether it was by luck or by judgment, I'm not sure.
I think he was trying to curl that one high over his head to the far corner. Didn't quite get it right, but it was a good try. Edwards,
another one of these players that remains supremely fit despite no playing. Maybe no. I think he's on East United's books, but he certainly by no means starts every week. But yeah, no signs of rustiness whatsoever. Yes, the substitutes that came on there were Andrew Mulrain wearing number 12 and Craig Draver up front wearing number 17. I think Scott Rendell's just dropped back in the midfield. Scott Rendell, one of these players that, you know, he retains such a natural fitness all year round with playing rugby, and maybe not quite the same type of fitness all year round, but you know, he's never he comes in pretty much match fit at the start of the season.
Yeah, he combines the two sports remarkably well, because the skills required are very different, and the body shape and the type of fitness that you want are very different. But he probably does it as successfully as anyone.
An all-round sportsman, that's for sure, and a pretty good joiner as well. Cian Vendy looks for John Tate. No, he doesn't. He turns on the ball. Up and under towards Harvey Rendell, but that ball just kind of sums up St Ola's second half. I think we're agreed that Duncan Gray, manager, had to mark the change, but it's not quite paid off, and 2 quick-fire goals for Ham have them 3 goals ahead in this Parish Cup final with, let me check my stopwatch, 10 minutes to go plus stops. So probably there's a Ham coming on with what looks to be that is something I've not seen in a long time, Andrew. Somebody wearing a completely different kit to the rest of the team. I think that's a different font. It's like, no, hold on, that's a completely different kit. So Michael,
it's quite interesting now, because with the new rules where you're allowed up to 7 subs, most strips still come in sort of 16 kit parks. So teams are needing to invest in another couple of strips, I think.
I can, certainly. You know, the last couple of kits that I've seen Forth wearing have been up to 16, and then they got a Parish kit in the past this past season. They did splash out and 18 kits, but Ham not quite made that yet. So I think Michael Gullion came on wearing number 18 there and the retro kit. So we'll keep an eye out for that in the winning photos later on on Facebook, and in the Arcadian, of course, on Thursday. Arcadian, long-time sponsor of this competition, and Ken Orkney Amateur Football Association, very grateful for that. Just a rewind, you were saying about the presentation ceremony. I think it'll just be down here below us, Andrew, so that it can be on camera. No natural kind of balcony like we have at no balcony like we have at Picky or Bignald for trophy presentations. I wonder what they'll do for the 2025 games, because of course if this is to be the main pitch, we'll presumably see a medal ceremony after the final game. So I'm sure we would all like to see Orkney taking part in that final match, but that's a while away yet, about 10 or 11 months. Well, 11 months. Are you looking forward to the Island Games, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be great to see that sporting event here in Orkney. Folk who haven't been involved in the games will really be, I think, surprised by the quality of the sport on show and the size of the event as well.
Did you travel to an Island Games as a footballer?
Yeah, Guernsey.
Is that 2003, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
I see.
So, no, it's going to be an amazing thing for Orkney, but huge challenge as well. Folk who don't like sport will just have to grit their teeth and get on with it for 7 or 10 days, I'm afraid.
Yes, indeed. It'll be a sporting extravaganza, that's for sure, and we look forward to that this summer. This the culmination of the 2024 Parish Cup season, and it looks like Ham will win their third Parish Cup in 4 years, so quite a dominant spell for the East Mainland side. Graham Shearer really not been involved as much as he would like either. Gregor Dowell being probably as good as anybody in a green shirt. He crosses the ball, but can't find a fellow St Ola player. Mooney, one of the goal scorers for Ham, gives back to Mark Rendell. Michael Gullion wearing that kind of orange nearly kit. I'm still tickled by that. And this, of course, the culmination of the Parish Cup season. East United, I don't think they can win it. They possibly can win it on Tuesday night, but I don't think they have a game East United obviously giving us East United set to win the A-League, Andrew, and find to see, obviously where you're taking your Strumness hat off, find to see a new name on the trophy.
Yeah, after so many years without a sort of non-Kirkwall team winning it, that's going to be two in a row. So it's I think it's just reward for all the work the folk have put in at East United. They've developed a really good set of young players and a good team there. This year the challengers have really fallen away and they're pretty much coasting to the title now.
Yes, that they are, and I think you've kind of summed it up there, because they've started this youth setup with these under the East United banner, and that's been followed through to senior, and basically they've worked hard at it, and if you work hard you get the rewards, and that's now going to be in the form of a Broch Cup A-League title. Strumness, I think, have maybe struggled with injuries this year in terms of their title defence. Toby McLeod, obviously such a vital player, getting an injury in the middle of the season, and the Kirkwall teams that they've all taken a lot of points off each other, basically, and East United have just been so consistent. So that is A-League football. This is Parish Cup football. So we're just waiting, or just coasting towards the final whistle. 4 minutes plus stops to go in this 2024 final. Ham set to win their 7th Parish Cup in their 13th final. Horn been everywhere, taking free kicks and corner kicks, takes one for the left hand side. Edwards can't get over it and it goes over the bar, and we'll move into the 87th minute here. Horn and Magnus Flett and Mark Rendell as well, been a very solid base in Ham's defence, and they've not given St Ola. There's been various players playing up front and in midfield for St Ola, and none of them have really gotten an inch in the course of the match. No,
they've done a good job there. I think Horn's kind of probably stood out as the leader of that sort of defensive unit, but Mark and Magnus have been quietly effective in there, just done their jobs, no fuss.
Draver nicely off to Mulrain. Mulrain on his left hand side. Shot charged down by John Tate. Scott Rendell picks up. Scott Rendell, of course, around side of 30 now as well, I think. Ian Moore came on as a substitute without much fanfare. He came on up front for Graham Scherer. Another good young Thorfinn player, I think newly 16, so he'll continue to develop in years to come and be a threat for Thorfinn. Again, he's had some A-League football this year, Ian Moore, and he's made his way into the parish. Of course, both sides probably leaving out players as well that would have liked to been involved. Heidel Polk for St Ola, and Ham, and there's somebody I'm thinking of, but his name's escaped me. So there's a St Ola free kick. They'll desperately want to retain a clean sheet here. Jamie Sutherland's done everything right in goals. One handling error that went unpunished. Adamson couldn't really have done too much about any of the goals that he's conceded. He'll not be too annoyed with his own personal performance, I'm sure. And here are St Ola. Break in the last few minutes and straight into the gloves of Sutherland.
Yeah, that was a good crossing opportunity. He had loads of time and space there. He seemed to just kind of almost nonchalantly kind of chip it into the middle. I think everybody looked like he could have done a wee bit better, but maybe the fight's just gone out of them now.
I think everybody in the pitch just maybe looking forward to that full-time whistle now, because as much as we would like to see a comeback for entertainment value, at St Ola are not. They've no. I mean, you don't want to be too coarse on them, but they've just not been in an attacking sense, really. They're, ultimately they'll look back on this match and they'll maybe watch some of our coverage and read the paper on Thursday, and they've been beaten by the better team on the night.
Yeah, absolutely,
and that happens.
And very much, and I think the reality is that Ham have got more players who are at their peak or on the way up in their football careers, and St Ola have more players who are probably past their best. and that's no disrespect to them. They're still quality players, but I think you've always got to favour that team who's kind of got the momentum. So some of these St Ola guys that we've spoken about and praised aren't even playing regular league football, or aren't necessarily playing in the league teams at their clubs. So I'm not shocked by the result tonight. I did fancy Ham to win it. It was just a case of them making sure that they kind of kept their heads and they showed their quality.
That's right, and there's just about 30 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go in ordinary time. There's been a good few subs in the second half, so there will be a bit added on, but you wonder if they'll lose 30 seconds or so somewhere along the way. Andrew Mulrain just battling up front there with Gregor Dowell. Muldoon, nothing in that, I didn't think, but he got the foul, and St Ola Ham will just kill a few extra seconds here into added time now, and once that sun's gone away, it fairly dulls down, doesn't it? And you can just, you hate to say it, but the county show is by, Andrew. The night's hard ran in.
I'm glad I've got my big coat on now.
And there's plenty of daylight, but you wouldn't necessarily want this to go to extra time, because another 30 minutes plus break plus penalties, you might be starting to struggle for daylight. So that's the 6:30 kick-off, I suppose, coming into play. So there's Jamie Tulloch trying to see it in. He'll take the... No, Scott Hamilton, the referee, we've hardly spoken about him in the second half, and that's been, he's had very little to do, and that probably that second goal really calmed the game down in terms of no being too niggly or anything like that. And I think Scott can look back on his night's performance with some satisfaction. He booked, I think there's just been that one booking for John Tate, and he was probably justified in doing it. Might have been another for Monkman, but he let Monkman off with that. But he's hardly put a foot wrong, Mr. Hamilton, and he'll, I'm sure, come to this stage again and maybe have more to do.
I think it's been a good game for a referee, because
Yes.
there's not been really any decision that's been hugely contentious. There's been one or two fouls in the middle of the park you could have given the other way or argued it was a booking, but nothing that's really game affecting at all. So that's a really good game for Scott to get for his first Parish Cup final, and he looks fit for here to have managed it well.
Yeah, I wonder, gone back to the Melon Cup a few weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago now, and Bruce Simpson, it was his second one, but his first one in front of actual fans, and it's kind of similar. Didn't have too much to do with, and I sometimes wonder, when you get two decent quality sides, sometimes there's a handball. Sometimes they just, when the game flows, they sometimes let the ref get on with it.
I thought there would have been a lot more meaty tackles flying about today, to be honest. But I think the reality is that the Ham players, with their interplay and just that wee bit of speed in the forward areas, St Ola haven't really been able to get near them.
No, I would say that, Tate, McLean, Draver, and Monkman, none of them frightened of a meaty tackle, an agricultural tackle, but sometimes players are just too quick and you can't catch them, like Thorfinn Scott that's no getting off. It's I'm sure they would like to have let him ken they were there early doors, but they've not been able to. There is Xander Scott, that Grease Lightning we spoke about before. He's still running in this 92nd minute. Craig Draver, will he get a shot away? New playing for Orford in the B League. He could easily do a job in goals, no problem at all, but he's outfield new and does a perfectly good job. Draver into Edwards. Edwards fancies one, but over the bar, and that will just about be that. I'm guessing we're now 3.5 minutes into added time, and you've got to imagine Scott Hamilton, the referee, will call a halt to the game soon. No, that must have taken a nick off a St Ola boot on the way out. Graham Horn waves to his Burns in the crowd. They'll see their feather win another Parish Cup. Ham's 7th, as I said, a a minute ago. This is St Ola's 29th final, quite a record in the Parish Cup, and they now get one more loss. They were on an even record before tonight, but will now have more losses than wins. St Ola, it's Ham not going to be doing too much with this corner. They've made their way into the box, but cleared by St Ola, returned by Mooney, I think that was. Maybe it was Edwards. Yes, St Ola 14 each in terms of wins and losses before tonight. They'll now have 14 wins and 15 losses, but they'll be back, no doubt. Duncan Gray, manager, will rouse them next season, I'm sure, and will they get a shot away? A consolation? No, a consolation corner.
It's very distracting, Michael Gillian in that kit. I keep thinking he's the goalkeeper charging out from the back, because it really is quite a different colour from the rest of them.
It's not, yeah, it's definitely a Ham kit. I mind them wearing it, but I think it maybe got a good few years use, and it's a kind of orangey red. No, it's like
salmon.
Salmon. It's like that Cairns you see that have sat for years, like an old Vauxhall Astra or something like that. Jamie Sutherland gets a punch on it, not too convincing. That is that. Ham win the 2024 Parish Cup by 3-0. They were in control throughout, and worthy winners are the piece. St Ola will be maybe disappointed with how the game went, but Ham, 2 goals in that second half, 2 quick-fire goals, and they take home the silverware and win their 7th Parish Cup here at held for the first time at the Kirkwall Grammar School. Andrew, worthy winners are the 90 minutes.
Yes, I think so. They got their noses in front early on, which was exactly what they would have been looking for. They created the more chances in the game, and by and large they kept St Ola from threatening too much, so very much worthy winners.
So the two teams exchanged handshakes. Of course, they're 18 players each plus subs, so a lot of hands to shake, plus 4 officials as well, as we've touched on. Scott Hamilton and his team did very well, and nothing too much in the game for them to get worked up about. I think the sponsors are gathering down here below us with Mark Harkis for the Arcadian, brother of mine, just finishing off the last of his bottle of Corona there for the presentation. No sign of a beverage in Craig McInnes's hand, and Colin McLeod, of course, from the president of the Orkney Amateur Football Association, with a rather natty pinstripe jacket on, I must say, Andrew. I would like to. Who's his tailor, as Warren Zevon would say?
I think he wouldn't be able to place in the canals of Venice tonight. Maybe
here's a fact.
Another new job for him.
The canals of Venice. Well, here's one for you, and you might know it, but did you know there's more miles of canal in Birmingham than there are in Venice?
Well, there you go. I think I know where I'd rather go on holiday. So.
Right, so that is just the two teams starting to drift off. I wonder if we'll get a few folk remaining about for the presentation, but it doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. So I wonder if we'll bid farewell to you on our radio coverage. Thank you very much for joining us for the past couple of hours. We've been on BBC Radio Orkney, of course, for this Parish Cup coverage. Thank you for your linear lugs for the game. It's always good to ken somebody's listening. If you want to watch the presentation, it'll remain on our Facebook page, so head over there if you want to watch the cup being presented. But for radio, we'll hand you back to Radio Scotland.
big thanks to the KGS and the YC for making it available to us. Thanks a lot for the support that's come along today. Having a look around the pitch today, I think the sport's been as good as I've seen for a long time, so it's grateful thanks for everybody turning up tonight. So first of all, we'll make a little presentation on the man of the match, and that is down to Thorfinn Scott of Holm. Well done, mate. And next, I would like to thank the officials for the way they ran the match today. This is Scott Hamilton's first big match of his career as a referee, and I think he performed admirably here today. And again, all the officials that supported him was greatly, their support is gratefully thankful. So thanks a lot to the officials today. I'd also like to congratulate both teams in a very competitive match. Conditions today were not very good with the side wind across the pitch and everything, but Ham, I think, certainly dealt with that in a lot better way, hence coming out with the win at the end of the game. But very difficult conditions, but the match was played in a very sporting manner, and both teams have to be congratulated for that. So thanks to them for both of that. Nothing more remains for me but to thank everybody for being here today, and I'd like to thank our sponsors here, the Arcadian, for the Parish Cup. They're gratefully doing this on a year-on-year basis, and we can't thank them enough for their support. And I would like to ask Craig to present the trophy to the winning captain.
Mark, let me shift up, mate.
Get the whole team in.
Somewhere for the rest of that too. Believe it running through.
Other side, guys. Is that there? That's it. Set bounce play. Come on, then. Oh, right top.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the officials for officiating the game very well. St Ola for a really, really tough game. The scoreline was one-sided, but I think the game was contested throughout the whole 90 minutes. I'd like to thank our committees, everyone behind the scenes, all the sponsors. I'd like to thank Radio Orkney for live streaming it to everyone that can't be here with us today. I'd like to thank pretty much everyone involved, and we've unfortunately lost a friend, Paul Shearer, earlier on in the year, so this one's for him.
Yes.